When the mother took her daughter to the zoo, she had no idea their lives were about to change forever. Everything began when her daughter was allowed inside the lion cub enclosure. Initially scared, she patted the animals carefully. However, what happened next was nothing short of incredible. Lily and her daughter, Ella, were no strangers to the zoo. It was Ella's favorite place to visit. Each time they left, she eagerly asked when they could return. However, this visit was different. After careful consideration, the zoo decided to allow visitors under staff supervision to enter the animal enclosures. Ella knew exactly where she wanted to go, the lion cub enclosure, her favorite. Lily, trusting the staff, handed her daughter over and tried to ease her worries. As Ella stepped inside, the lion cubs took notice, and the staff ensured she was calm before proceeding. The cubs, recently fed and resting, seemed harmless. Little did they know this visit would be unforgettable. Lily noticed that more and more people were gaining interest in what was happening in the enclosure. The fences surrounding the place were swarming with people in no time. Because the staff member holding Ella's hand saw that she was still a bit nervous, he decided to pave the way for her. He crouched down slowly and placed his hand on the lion cub's belly. "See, there is nothing to be scared about," he said. Now it was Ella's turn. She stretched out her arm and, while doing so, closed her eyes. "Tell me when I'm close to the lion," she said, but the zookeeper didn't say a word. He wanted her to experience it for herself. And before she knew it, her hand was touching the soft fur of the lion cub. She opened her eyes and saw a calm animal enjoying her stroke. Ella looked at her mother with a huge smile, but things were about to change. Suddenly, the ears of the little lion cub started to point upwards, and its head, which was first in a horizontal position, got up from the ground quickly. "What is going on here?" Ella's mother said nervously from the sideline. Something was stirring there, and they couldn't make out what. But after 5 seconds, a growl was heard from there. Because what they did not notice was that a second lion cub wasn't present at the resting place. It was lurking in the distance, and the female cub had just now reappeared. She stepped out of the bushes and walked towards Ella and the zookeepers. First, it was slow, but her steps quickened. It didn't take long for the lion cub to be in full sprint. The zookeepers did a few steps back now as well, all the while holding Ella as close to them as they possibly could. The commotion in the lion enclosure made all bystanders hold their breath. What she didn't realize, though, was that the commotion in the cub enclosure had stirred up something else in the neighboring enclosure. The larger lions had heard the growling of their young next door, and they had now awakened out of their slumber. But the zookeepers, bystanders, and Ella didn't notice their approach yet. But in about 10 seconds, that would change. Some of the bystanders who were also paying attention to what was happening in the neighboring enclosure saw that the grown-up lions had left their hideout. They searched and saw a grown male and 2 females moving through the bushes. They were almost at the place where Ella was standing. The words of her mother shot through the little girl like a laser, and she turned around instantly. That's when she saw a sight she would never forget. 3 huge lions were standing behind her, jumping against the fence wildly. The little girl fell over out of initial fright. What happened next is still hard to explain, but luckily, everything was filmed. When the little girl hit the floor at the end of her fall, she landed on the fanny pack she had brought with her. And when that happened, her life changed forever. As her body pushed down on the pack, a loud squeak was heard. And that squeak, things were put in motion that were hard to explain to the people watching. Because as soon as the sound was heard by the lions, all of them stopped their erratic behavior. They all sat down on their butts and seemed as focused as well-trained dogs, all paying attention to Ella. Ella got up from the ground and observed the situation that was going on around her. She saw the calm demeanor of the animals and realized that it was because of the sound. That's when she reached into her fanny pack and got a small chew toy that belonged to the family dog. She grabbed it and squeaked it twice. The lions followed the movement of Ella's hand perfectly. It was a sight to behold. Everyone watching, even the zookeepers who knew these animals well, were in awe. This little girl was in full control of the situation. Ella quickly switched the toy from left to right, squeaking at each end. The lions' heads tilted and their tails wiggled along, but the little girl wasn't done yet. Her confidence grew, and she wanted to try something different. While she still had the lion's attention, she put the toy away. Immediately, the lions became restless again. But then the little girl threw a curveball into the mix. The toy was gone, but that was part of her plan. She used her mouth to imitate the same high squeak her dog toy made, and wouldn't you know it, the animals responded just the same, sitting down again and paying close attention. The zookeepers were still monitoring the situation, just to make sure nothing bad would happen. But also, they couldn't deny Ella's grip on these creatures. After about 5 minutes of incredible playtime, Ella and the zookeepers stepped out of the enclosure. The little girl was received by a large audience who were all applauding loudly for her incredible bravery and skill. Her mother hugged her and told her that she was so proud. She also said that she wanted the world to know about her gift. Back home, her mother ran straight over to the computer to upload the video file, and it did not take long for the video to get nationwide coverage. The news station picked up the video quickly and featured it on their broadcast. The very next day, YouTube coverage from other bystanders also filled the internet, and that got the attention of a very special individual. A few days later, the answering machine in Lily and Ella's home received a message from an unknown caller. Lily pressed play and heard a male voice coming from the machine. The man introduced himself as a zoo manager from another zoo. The zoo director told them that he managed a zoo 2 cities over. He saw the video of Ella on the news and was amazed by her bravery and control. The zoo manager asked them if they were able to come over later that day because there was something very important he wanted to talk to them about. He had a proposition for little Ella. Curiosity made them say yes, and about 2 hours later, they sat in the car driving over to the zoo. After about half an hour, they were in the man's office. He sat down and told Ella and her mother that a zoo was dealing with a problem, and it indeed had to do with lions again. He told Ella and Lily that his zoo had acquired a new group of lions a few months back. They weren't aggressive, but they hardly ate, and they stay hidden almost all day. Maybe Ella's magic would work here as well. Let's try, the little girl said. The lions were about 30 feet away from Ella when she grabbed the chew toy from her fanny pack. But with a single squeeze and a loud squeak, the lions got up and followed the sound directly to the little girl. Ella put her toy away and imitated the sound again. The result was exactly the same. That's when the manager made Ella an offer. He asked Ella if she was willing to train these creatures. Not as a zookeeper, of course. She was way too young. But just playing with them from outside the fence, just like today. Her mom nodded, telling her little girl it was fine, a big smile on her face. Ella agreed to the proposal, and the rest is history. Now Ella visits twice a month to play with the lions, and their plan worked. The lions have become much more social, interacting better with staff, playing happily, and eating plenty. Ella is thrilled to visit the zoo regularly now. She dreams of becoming a zookeeper herself when she's older.